Welcome to Flourishing in Faith, the place where you can discover stories of hope, truth, and glory, as well as find life hacks to live your faith more fully. Hi, I'm Julie, a daughter of God, certified professional life coach, wife, and mother of four. After trying to do everything the wrong way, I've been overwhelmed by healing, joy, and freedom through Jesus and the gifts of grace He makes available to each and every one of us. My passion is to share what I've been given with others. I'm glad you're here. Let's begin. Do you guys know that scene from Disney's Aladdin movie where Princess Jasmine first meets Aladdin and he's living in the streets and he takes her up on that rooftop that overlooks the city and they're talking? And then suddenly the guys with the swords show up and they both jump up and they go, "They're after me," and they need to escape. And Aladdin puts his hand out to Jasmine and says, "Do you trust me?" And at first she says, "What?" And then he repeats himself and says, "Do you trust me?" And she says, "Yes." But it's not a very confident yes. It's more like the yes is a question instead of a statement. But she gives him her hand and then he says, "Then jump." And they jump off the roof and they don't die. You know, he knew what he was doing and they landed safely. My friend and I joke that so often our faith life is a rerun of that moment. When God is asking us to do something new or scary that we hadn't expected, the interesting thing to me is she has to decide if she's going to trust him before she finds out if she can or can't do it. It's only once she decides to trust him and make the jump that she finds out what he had planned, that he knew how to navigate the jump. And it's like that with our relationship with Jesus too. We're being asked to take these leaps of faith. And so often I find myself saying, "What?" Like I don't hear him clearly when I know exactly what he said. Or I'll say yes, but it's not a confident yes. It's a yes with a question mark. And Jesus can't lead me if I don't trust him. We can't live our purpose and our calling if we don't give him our yes. So Catholics call this the fiat. It echoes one of the most important yeses in history. When Mary said to the angel, "May it be done to me according to your word," Mary says yes. She chooses to trust God, and Jesus becomes incarnate in her womb. Mary says yes to an unplanned, inconvenient pregnancy, and that child saved us all. So we have no idea what our yes to God will mean for us or for our families or our marriages or our communities. I shudder to think about the fruit of what I've seen and experienced when we tell God no. We hear a list in the book of Galatians of what that can lead to. Are you ready for this? In Galatians, we hear the works of the flesh are obvious: immorality, impurity, licentiousness, idolatry, sorcery, hatreds, rivalry, jealousy, outbursts of fury. This is really uplifting, isn't it, guys? Acts of selfishness, dissensions, factions, occasions of envy. I'm going to keep going, but it's a good list, but don't worry. Stay with me. Drinking bouts, orgies, and the like. Okay, I know in my life I've seen the way these things have wrought damage and destruction, but when we say yes to God, we can have the good side of this list, okay? Further on in Galatians, we hear the contrast to those things. We have the fruit of the Spirit, and this is what we're aiming at, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Do we want these things? Because we can have them if we ask for them. I think it's interesting that the thing that astonishes and amazes Jesus in the stories, it isn't the things that would astonish a lot of religious people. He wasn't amazed when they brought him the woman that was caught in the act of adultery. I mean, he eats his meals with prostitutes. This isn't a man who's easily amazed. He's not astonished by the fact that he can calm a storm just by speaking to it, which would, I don't know, if I could do that, I'd be kind of amazed. But what amazes Jesus, what astonishes Jesus, is when he travels to his hometown, he shows up in Nazareth, and he begins to teach at the synagogue on the Sabbath. And all of his neighbors and relatives and friends who knew him begin to take offense at him. They start saying, "Where did this guy get all this? What kind of wisdom has he been given? Isn't he the carpenter? Yeah, he's Mary's son. We know all his family." And they have this almost, "who does he think he is?" response to him. And it says that Jesus didn't do any mighty deeds in that town except for a few small healings. And then it says he was amazed at their lack of faith. And so our prayer is that we never want to amaze or astonish Jesus by our lack of faith, by our lack of trust. If we give him our faith, he can do mighty deeds in our lives. So the life hack today is an encouragement to say yes. Be as faithful as Mary, or if you like, Princess Jasmine, and say yes. Follow his lead. When he tells you to jump, jump. He has a plan. He knows the way ahead. He knows what he's doing. Jump. Thank you for listening to Flourishing in Faith. You can learn more about this ministry, share prayer requests, send questions, or even share your own glory story by visiting lifewithchristисbeautiful.com. If you found this episode helpful and think others might too, please rate us and review us or share this with others. All right, lovelies. As Pope Francis says, please pray for me. I'll be praying for you. Thanks.